So here's what I got set up for you. I set up some inputs, and in the inputs I've got your cabin temperature, your cool suit temperature, and a pit road limiter setup. And these are basically just thermistor setups. We can configure these to be any number of air temp or coolant temp sensors. You can even put a custom one in here. I mean, you could probably just get away with using a standard GM LS air temp sensor, which would be the easiest way to do it. It's already calibrated for you and everything. So I just put GM LS in there. So you can have an LS temp sensor for the cabin temp, and in cool suit temp you can use a coolant temp sensor. Just screw it in, not a big deal. Or even just submerge it, it's all watertight. So now that you've got that, your pit road limiter can just be a regular switch to ground or switch to hot. You can change that, 12 volt switch or ground. So I just left it as ground. As your outputs, I configured a couple. You've got your cool suit chiller solenoid. So this is the solenoid that allows Freon to go to the evaporator in the cool suit tank. So you can control temperature of the water inside the tank so it doesn't freeze you out of your suit. There's also a cabin blower. So this is basically turning the blower on or off for the cabin, so you don't have to worry about controlling temperature in there. And then there's also an AC clutch control. And the AC clutch control I have configured up so it looks at engine RPM. It's not going to engage until after the engine started, and it'll shut off when the engine hits 3,500 RPM. So you don't overspin the compressor, and the compressor just acts like an idler after that point. Anything below 3,500 RPM, if it sees TPS above 60%, it will also deactivate the clutch. So you can get maximum power to the rear wheels if that's what you're looking for. Ideally, that's what happens when you have more than 60% throttle. You're trying to get the car to move. So that's the AC clutch. As far as the cool suit chiller, the solenoid that controls the Freon, same thing. Don't turn it on until the engine's running. And then once the cool suit temperature is above 72%, activate the output, turning the solenoid on so it cools it off, and turn it off when it gets to 68 degrees. And you can change these to whatever you want, whatever's comfortable for you. Same thing for the cabin blower. And this, we can potentially set this up as, if I go into outputs, cabin blower, I can potentially set this up as, where am I going? I could potentially set this up as a PWM. So we can actually PWM a cabin blower, and then we can just get like a regular PWM fan control module, like out of a 5th gen Camaro or something. And in here we can set it up to, we can set this up to where it's, cabin temperature and fan speed or something. So you can control how fast the fan comes on, so the fan doesn't have to blow 100% or nothing. But the way I had it set up originally was similar to the cool suit chiller, where it would come on at a certain point. It would come on when the engine's above 400 RPM, and it would come on when the temperature got above 75, and then when it got below 70, shut it off. So that's something that's kind of cool. So that takes care of the cooling part. As far as pit row, if you wanted to do something like that, I have this drive-by-wire offset right here, and named it pit road limiter just because it fits. And we put vehicle speed as x-axis. So down here at the bottom, if I can adjust this a little bit, down at the very bottom here, you can see I have, wrong way. Down at the bottom, you can see mile an hour. And this is throttle body correction for input correction. So if you start right here, we're at 61 miles an hour. So 61 miles an hour. Let's say you're trying to target 60 miles an hour. It'll start pulling some drive-by-wire out. And then if you start going 66, 70, it'll just start pulling it all out, just to hard nose it off after a certain mile an hour. You could also add in a You could also add in a rev limiter component to this as well. I don't know that you would need to, but you could always just do something like this as well. Just hard drop off, you know, 61 miles an hour. So you go 60 miles an hour, that's as fast as you're going to go. And it just closes throttle anything after that. This right here would probably cause a little bit of a buck because it's all or nothing, but you can adjust that and play with that, get that dialed in. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I think anything you want to do in here is pretty easy to do. Not the best as far as saying, hey, this is exactly how fast I want to go and make the car stop after that, but there are ways to make that work. And it's the cool thing about Holley, you can make just about anything work with a little creativity.